What's going on, everybody? Welcome to MLB Live Before Lock, presented by us here at Stokastic. I'm Eric Lindquist. You can follow me at Eric Lindquist. And we had so much fun, we thought we'd run it back here on Friday. He said, see you Monday. Oh, those are lies, friends. It's Friday, and I'm kicking it. He forgot. There might be football going on this evening, and we surely have Live Before Lock coming your way here for the Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers, in Sao Paulo, where the women are beautiful. I love my wife, but at Fantasy Tips, Matt, that is what's up. How you doing, my dude? Good to see you again.
So nice we had to do it twice. Completely forgot about the Friday night opening week game, and the NFL is just shoving all the games they can down your throat, and we'll take it because football's back. So I'm excited to talk over some baseball. I was wondering last night why the contests were so shallow and weak. Now I get it. NFL trumps everything. Hopefully during the week next week when there's no NFL, we'll be able to get back to some real size contests.
I was so excited that I didn't even hit the little template button, but that is neither here nor there. A lot better slate that we're staring at here today. Obviously, Blake Snell was not the droids you're looking for. Ryan Pepio goated out, ended up on the over of his 5.5 strikeouts. That was free at the end of the day. He ended up pitching.
You were totally right about his ownership, though. Like, he ended up like higher on than Skeens.
Yep. Had a feeling. Just, I mean, here's the thing. We're going to talk about this today to some extent. You can't play Ohtani over on DK. So shout out DK for still no opportunity to be able to play him over there. But the whole point here is that no matter what, no matter how, when you have ceiling caps on pitchers or perceived shortages, everybody they tend to over exaggerate upside. Like they tend to say in the back of their minds, like, oh, I can't get 7-8 innings out of this guy. I can't play him in single entry because this guy could go 7-8 innings, not realizing that going 7 or 8 innings is very rare in baseball, especially in modern baseball, Matt.
Extremely rare. I mean, if you're hoping for your pitcher to go 8 innings on any given night, good luck. Have fun with that because that ain't happening. It's just not. Rarely, sure, but this day and age, pitchers going 8 is few and far between. Trying to think about how many pitchers I think go 8 innings every week. 1?
Yeah.
Maybe. Right?
Maybe 1.
Like a few per month.
Yeah, it's a rarity. And so this is one of those things where let the data do some of the work for you. Paul Skeens was the highest projected pitcher that we had here. Had a feeling that he was going to end up a little bit lower, and that can be the difference between you getting to the right amount or the wrong amount. And, in my first run, you saw on the screen, I had more Paul Skeens than I had of Snell. I ended up kind of closer to the 60% number for my own allocation, and then 80% Skeens. Ended up working out okay because the White Sox in Minnesota were the stone cold nuts. Could have done without the Manzardo and Ramirez home runs in garbage time when I had as much Pepio as I did. That was come on, man, because that was the obvious 2-man. And so I was doing really well in some single entry stuff. This is when whoop, whoop, right at the end of that game for no reason whatsoever.
So annoying because that was the only 2-man to play from them. And it didn't even change the outcome of the game at all. It's very annoying.
Yeah. You know what's not annoying? Well, I guess Javonte Williams was kind of annoying yesterday to some extent, although I had enough in the captain that it was okay. It just ended up being a little bit of a loss. That's the way most slates are going to go. But overall, it's been amazing because in Showdown, I don't know what I'm doing. I just click whatever the Sims give me. I like to have takes. I like to come in on that, but I specifically asked not to do NFL Showdown this season because it's not my forte. If you see me fill in from time to time, I'm going to do the best that I humanly possibly can. But the Sims are so much smarter than I am. And they're just always going to be able to get you in the best position. So regardless of one play working out or not working out or whatever it might be, I can guarantee you over a long-term sample size, 18 weeks of the NFL, plus the playoffs, plus, Thanksgiving slates and Monday nights and everything for Showdown, you're going to be in a really good spot with the Sims. And there's one more day of this lovely thing going. Promo code OPENER, $1 using the NFL Core Weekly Sims. You can check it out here for Friday. It'll renew for you tomorrow. So you want to check it out today. If you love it, keep rolling with it. Go into Sunday fully equipped with the best content, the best opportunities for you to win. That is with the Sims, plus our projections, plus our ownership projections. I mean, it is just really good stuff behind the paywall here at Stokastic. Come check it out. We still have this going as well. use code football. If you know you're going to be signing up here come Sunday, take advantage of it tonight. Use it for Friday night, 30% off the monthly package. And lastly, if you've been around for a while and you know how good this content is on the NFL side, because trust me, it's the absolute best of the best, use code BIRD and get yourself 10% off the yearly or all access packages. So I'll repeat one more time, code OPENER for $1. You're looking to check that out just for tonight. 30% off using code FOOTBALL. And then lastly, use code BIRD for 10% off the yearly. And with that, anything you really want to discuss here before we dive into this slate? And then obviously when we get done, we turn it over to NFL Live before lock.
Nah, kind of what you alluded to. It's a loaded slate. I mean, there are good plays all over, like from really good pitchers to really good stacks. We haven't had one of these slates in a minute. So classic MLB. Kind of wish there wasn't an NFL game so there were more contests, but it is what it is. It's still the same slate.
Yeah, it's the same slate, and you're playing in some high dollar stuff that really looks good. I'm in this MLB achievements thing today. It's got 100K player pool, less than 3,000. I'm not sure if it's just because I play MLB DFS every single day that I apparently get that. But are you in that tonight? The MLB achievements?
No, I'm not. I saw one of my buddies maybe a week ago sent me something similar, but I'm not in that. I don't know why or how or why not, but I'm not. No.
Well, I got a 15K, 10K first second. I mean, it's pretty nice by DraftKings. So shout out them for that.
Love those free contests. I'm in one for week 2 NFL. I see already. So sweet.
So if you guys checked out the strategy show, I have a feeling, oh my God, I have no idea how I'm in it. I'm in it also because you play MLB DFS every day like me. So I hope if it's not you, if it's not me, it's you, John, because John kicking it in the Lindy and Friends Discord on the daily. I'm just sitting in my chair, making bets, making videos all day long, all the live long day. And we'll be doing that after this video as well to get NFL week 1 in the books for the people here and out on Friday night so that you can consume it into the weekend. Got some really interesting bets that I've circled, targeted, highlighted, squared, whatever you want to call it. But let's dig into this slate starting with pitching. And if you tuned in to the strategy show, I got a feeling things are going to look a little bit different because Shohei Ohtani is now starting for the Dodgers, and we do not have access to him on DraftKings. Tyler Glasnow would have ate up some ownership, and now we don't even have to deal with that guy. I mean, it was hot or cold, yes or no, Katy Perry style with that dude. And, well, now we're just staring down the barrel of a 45, which is Chris Sale at 10-5, coming off of a pretty good first start that he had here in quite some time. So I don't want to completely poo-poo the idea of, Chris Sale being limited and having that be a problem. 78 pitches, 6 innings. But the Braves don't have anything to play for, and Seattle has everything to play for considering all the moves that they made. This one freaks me out quite a bit. And yet, Chris Sale, the highest owned pitcher by a mile in the Sims. How you feeling about that one, Matt?
I'm more on Team Freakout, to be quite honest.
I'm freaking out a little bit based on my 150. Yeah.
Like, it's all relative because it's still Chris Sale. So even if he's limited, he's still likely to be really good. It's hard to know because whenever a pitcher goes 6 innings like that, they pulled him at 80 pitches. Would they have let him go 90 pitches if he needed it to get through 6? We don't know. Probably, but I don't know. So it's like, was that 80 or 78 pitches what he threw a hard cap? Probably not, but maybe it was. And maybe that's where they're at again today because they're not playing for anything. I like how he came back to this team to pitch, even though they're not playing for anything. He's a pro's pro. I mean, guy is one of the best pitchers of the generation. So whenever he toes the rubber, you have confidence that you're going to get the best Chris Sale. But we're talking about DFS where he is not only the most expensive, but by far the highest owned. So, yeah, I mean, I'm more on Team Freakout because he's that expensive and that highly owned. But I understand why he's getting love because he's Chris Sale, and he did look really, really good in that first start back. And Seattle is a lineup that has certainly upside on any given night, but they haven't been good, and they strike out a lot. So, yeah, let's just put it this way. I'm more scared of him than the field is, but I still like him quite a bit because how could you not?
Yeah, how could you not to some extent? But I'll say this. The guy with the best WAR on this entire slate is right below him here. And I ended up grouping this by salary this time around. Christopher Sanchez is not getting the kind of like respect he should deserve, I would think. Now, part of it is that the strikeout stuff isn't always there. And Miami, they've been better, I would say, in recent weeks. The lineup, it doesn't have like the what was his name? Matt Mervis, that just, was an automatic. My model would just absolutely salivate whenever he was like in the top 5. Then all of a sudden they demote him, and well, they don't look as good or as appealing on a day in, day out basis. I just look at his outs prop, and I've been staring at it all day because I was waiting for it to get back to like a plus money side of things. And now it's plus 120, click, immediate click. This guy is so efficient. Primary sinker baller, gets 14 ground balls to 1 fly ball last time out, has one of the most silly changeups you could possibly have alongside it. Doesn't even have like a fastball. He just basically says, I'm going to beat you with stuff, and stuff you shall inherit. And you look at this specific Miami lineup, you get Marcy up there. I was surprised to see Jacob Marcy in the 3-hole today, left on left. Heriberto Hernandez, 27.1% K rate. I'm just saying that.
No, I get it.
It is what it is for strikeouts. And that's the thing,
Right.
is we're trying to, produce strikeouts. Joey Wiemer, 48%, although it's in a very small sample size, like all of 27 at-bats that he's had this season, 29 plate appearances. So don't want to read too much into that. But, like, this is a much better than I expected Miami lineup on the other side. I'm going to stay away from the strikeouts, although I kind of feel like dipping my toe into the pool and double dipping. But, like, I think Christopher Sanchez is a very serviceable pivot off of Chris Sale. And I know I'm going to be getting 90-plus pitches almost under any circumstances, where I don't think that's guaranteed with Sale, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, I'm totally with you here. Sanchez is my favorite pitcher on the slate. Pretty clearly for me with the ownership discount. Without the question marks surrounding Sale, it would be very close for me. But with those question marks, I like Sanchez as my SP1. Like, price, ownership considered, I'll play them both together. No problem with that at all. Although you're foregoing a lot if you do that. So it is a core slate with other expensive offenses. But for my money, at almost $1,000 cheaper than Sale, 800 to be exact, 2/3 of the ownership, half the ownership, somewhere in between there. Yeah, I'm all in on Sanchez. I've been a big Sanchez guy all year, moreover, before this year. His stuff is elite. He doesn't have the strikeout upside that Sale does on his best day, but that's the only difference, So I'm willing to ride with Sanchez at that price point, and a better matchup. I mean, Seattle might strike out, but the difference is, like, if Sanchez doesn't have like his A++ stuff here, he can still get by in this matchup with a good outing. If Sale doesn't have his great stuff here, Seattle could destroy him.
Speaking of Seattle, we got Logan Gilbert sitting there with absolutely no ownership coming in on him. I find that to be somewhat interesting, even though the Sims really do not. Again, this is not an I know better than the Sims. This is simply saying that what is our projection? What are we taking into context? And then letting the tool do its thing. We've had a pretty good gauge on where ownership was going to land. If Logan Gilbert is going to be 11%, I totally understand kind of hitting eject there. And then Pavetta taking on Colorado. I mean, this is one of those slates where you have Coors Field, and then you've got 4, I think, very interesting spend-up pitchers. Not all of them pulling ownership because of one guy down there who's just completely mispriced at 7,800. But keep me above 9K here. Out of Gilbert and Pavetta, do you have a preference between those two?
I think they both look really similar. And honestly, the tools don't like them, and I don't like them because of the spots they're in, and they don't look as good as Sale or Sanchez, but they're good enough where at this ownership, I think you can make the case for playing them just based off that. Because, in terms of like talent level for DFS purposes, Sale's the best, but like Sale, Sanchez, Gilbert, Pavetta, they're all in an elite group. Pavetta maybe not elite, but certainly Gilbert, Sanchez, Sale. Gilbert's not getting the love because of the spot, and he's a lot better at home. I get it. But he's good enough. Like I said, we're at that ownership. I am, like you said, I'm not trying to say I'm smarter than the tools, and I don't think he looks as good as Sale or Sanchez, but I do think that, his upside starts here are as good as those guys, and that's what we're playing for. And I feel similarly about Pivetta, especially in this matchup where his floor is lower and Gilbert's floor is lower than Sale and Sanchez, but is his upside really lower than what it normally is? No, it's as high or higher in this matchup. So yeah, I'm seeing the low ownership on both those guys and thinking they're in play, knowing you're giving up projection on Sale and Sanchez, but it's MLB. You can do that much more than in other sports.
Pablo Lopez is good. He's 9,300. He's not showing up in the Sims. As you can see, is not on your screen right now, purely because he's not showing up in any of my lineups. He did get up to 82 pitches, but the Twins aren't really playing for anything, and I don't think the strikeout stuff is all that enticing going up against Kansas City relative to some of these other pitchers, so I'll keep him out of the conversation. But we did see Logan Gilbert go completely ballistic for 13 strikeouts. We've also seen him get bludgeoned against Philly in recent starts. Try not to have too much of the recency bias, but I'm with you. I think Christopher Sanchez is definitely the guy north of 9K. Anybody who's consumed any of my content or bet anything that I've bet over the course of the last few months knows how much I like Christopher Sanchez. And again, I think this Miami lineup came out as good as you could possibly hope for in terms of what you're hoping for strikeouts. So I think
the bottom of this lineup stinks right now.
Oh, it's awful. It's horrendous. And so I'm happy that because Miami, I thought this would be one of those 6:40 Eastern time, 3:40 start times.
Right.
I'm glad that it got included here because I think there's going to be some Sale Sanchez lineups in my future as well. I'm definitely playing and toying with that because the Sims are such a fan of Chris Sale. And I get it because the Seattle Mariners 25.5% K rate against lefties, but they do bring a 104 WRC plus and some of the limitations for Sale. I'd feel a little silly, but 11 games, we have enough cheap offense. We have enough expensive offense. I think we can mix and match and be in an okay spot. Anything else you want to discuss about the expensive pitchers?
I don't think so, no.
All right, let's move down the line. And Peyton Toll is incredible. I think that kid is something else. I'm on Boston. I feel pretty good about that one against E-Rod. He goes nutty, just completely nutty. 8 strikeouts in his debut, but that was against Pittsburgh. Arizona, not as many strikeouts available, but 84 pitches. We see 90 pitches. I don't know. Somebody that I think you could maybe give a tiny boost to, maybe mix into some more lineups in large field. Not really a consideration for me in small field for this one. Just want to point out the Southpaw's got some serious gas and some serious stuff. Kevin Gausman against the Yankees, not really going to be for me. Texas, Merrill Kelly, not really going to be for me. Kind of a dead 8K range overall. I mean, if Peyton Toll could go 9,500, I think I'd definitely be jamming him, but so would the field.
Yeah, either that or he was 7K or cheaper.
Right.
Either one of those, but he's not. So tough to get to him. Although the one thing I'll add to what you said, with guys like this, he's only made one start. He's hard to project, So there's a lot more unknown in his projection than there is with guys who have started the entire season. That's all I'll say. So I could be willing to buy into that. You know what I mean? Especially again in MLB. I'm not, but I don't hate that. I think Gausman's the guy here. If you're dead set on this range, I don't love it, but he's Kevin Gausman. So if he has his A stuff, he can have a really good outing here. It's a tough matchup though. So his floor is low. I feel like this is the 4th time he's faced the Yankees. A couple of them have been mediocre to bad. He had one really good start at home. So that's kind of what I expect here. The majority of times in this matchup, he's not going to be great, but he's got good enough stuff when he is on to have good starts against anyone. So I think the top guys are much better plays, so I'm not in love with it, but I think that in this range, he's the best option.
Are you a musicals fan at all?
Musical, as in going to see plays?
Yeah, going to see plays and shit.
I am, but I don't do it a ton.
All right. Suddenly Seymour. Yeah, we've got Seymour. Ian Seymour hanging out at 7,800. And we've been talking about pitchers that are limited. Maybe he's unlimited. That's another musical for you. But Ian Seymour, boy, oh boy, is he popping in the tools because he has strikeout stuff. This guy is ridiculous. Now, you're going to probably get this Griffin Jacks opener followed by Ian Seymour immediately after, but it's just simply baseball analytics saying, hi, we do not want this guy to face the top of the lineup 3 times. And, 4 times has kind of been a no-no for a lot of teams recently just because of the fall off that exists at the tail end of starts, unless you're Tariq Skubal or, whomever else. Tarek Skubal can do whatever he wants. He's Tarek Skubal. But I am very fascinated to hear what you have to say about Ian Seymour, both in large field and in small field. I think I might be handling him a little bit differently depending on which tournaments I'm going to utilize him in. What's your game plan with Ian Seymour today in small field, large dollar GPPs?
Before I answer that, I have to go back real quick because I feel like if my wife heard, she would just laugh in my face. I consider myself very cultured, but no, I am not a fan of musicals and plays. I will go to them. Yeah, I had to get it off my chest. Like, not that I hate them, and I will go to them if, someone I'm with really wants to go, but it's not something I'm actively seeking out. That said, Seymour's interesting to me here. I'm wondering why they're not starting him. Doesn't make me feel warm and fuzzy, but Griffin Jacks isn't going to go more than an inning, and Seymour's been spectacular in his 2 starts. I don't love that he's seeing Cleveland for the second time. Again, there are things that I don't feel amazing about, but his price tag's really good. The lack of ownership is really good considering how good he looks in the top pitcher tool. So I'm in on Seymour. I don't think I feel as good about it as you do because I don't think he's going to be a 31% K guy forever, but Cleveland stinks. So why couldn't he be tonight? I'm in on it for sure.
Do you think with the PLR next to his name over on DraftKings, especially in this lovely tournament that I talked about already, so achievements, whatever the hell. Hey, Eric, you play MLB DFS every day. I feel as though it might deter people from clicking on him. I also think it's pretty easy to find stacks that work well with Sale and Sanchez. The more I think about it, the more I'm leaning towards just firing off Sale Sanchez in large field GPPs and not even dealing with this. But maybe there's a world where Seymour comes in even lower, 15, 14%. I don't think if you're, playing in large field GPPs that he's going to necessarily come in lower owned because they don't have those kind of thoughts. I'm not going to be thinking about it if you're using the tools at Stokastic. I guarantee you, Ian Seymour is going to show up. I'm thinking I'm going to just deploy him, at least double the field in large field. I'm probably going to keep away from him in small field, but I feel like the logic should almost be reversed to some extent. I should be jamming him in the large field where he's just such a good value, allows you to get to some of these other stacks. And then in small field, just finding a way to potentially get to him because hand builders might not click on a PLR guy.
Yeah, I don't know exactly how much, but I do think it cuts his ownership for exactly the reasons you said. It's much more of an uncomfortable click because first off, we don't know he's pitching. We think he's pitching, and I would be shocked if he didn't, but he's not starting the game. So we don't know for 100% certainty that he's pitching. That in itself will get some people off him.
All right. Just to recap for the people, because again, we don't really have any weather. You're not really paying attention to any weather for this slate, right? Because Tampa Bay has pop-ups, but we could say that every day in Tampa Bay. EMAC knows.
Yeah, no weather spots, I think, on this slate to either bother talking about.
Yep. Ohtani still just hitting stats, right? As far as I understand, yes, 100%.
They're not going to change that at this point. He's not even in the pitcher pool.
Exactly. He has to be put into the pitcher pool from the onset for DK, or they can't just add him to it later. Why that's the case, I will never quite understand. But yeah, it's been that way for years and years and years now, where it's one or the other. Today, he is in the batter category. So have fun with that in Baltimore against Dean Kramer. We will surely get to that when we talk about stacks, one-offs, dong of the day, all of those good things. But let's continue on our merry way, shall we? Hit that like button if you could. Matt Bellman and I get to hang out. We like to hang out. We enjoy each other's company in a very nice way. If you would like that to continue here as we begin the football season, smash the like button. That's the easiest thing you can do to ensure you get the best analysis from, I would say, 2 pretty okay, sharp human beings. But Let's continue on where we have Gavin Williams not pulling any ownership against Tampa and Jose Soriano and Erod. I'm just going to group them both in together because they're kind of your punt du jours. Sims, a little bit over on each one of those in my first 150, ran it unencumbered, favorited top 150. I think you probably want to filter it down to the top 150 in 5-mans, and I can probably do that here afterwards. But talk to me about Soriano and Erod and which one you lean towards rostering if you had to make one lineup tonight.
It's got to be Soriano. I mean, considering his upside in his starts when he pitches well, it's not just recently with his past two, but basically all year. That price tag is just too cheap for this matchup. Now, consistency is a big issue for him, and he gets hit hard when he does get hit. Like, I think he has the second highest hard hit rate in baseball, which is just crazy. Now, he does give up so many ground balls that's kind of alleviated. There's risk in Soriano, but man, he's just too cheap for his upside on a slate like without great pitching, except for up top. Erod is more of a guy like I'm fine with because of the price, but I think Soriano is the clear like better, higher upside play. Doesn't mean that he's certainly going to outscore Erod here, but if it was just a 1v1, I would take Soriano. Slightly interested in both. Slightly interested in the stacks against both these guys. I think Soriano comes in pretty highly owned.
I think he does too. I am inclined to play about where the Sims are at. I'm okay sitting at around the 16% number. I don't really want to get to more, mainly because there's one pitcher down here that I have a lot more interest than the Sims do. Like, I would say a ton more interest. We've played.
I can't wait to hear who it is.
Yeah, we've played pitchers against Colorado all year. Who do you think the other team that we've targeted all year is?
I mean, we've targeted a few teams. We've targeted the White Sox. I don't think the White Sox are on this slate, are they?
Nope.
We've targeted the Angels. We've targeted the Angels.
We're going to Mason Barnett here. It's not the most comfortable feeling. It's not going to give you the warm fuzzies by any means, especially after he gets bludgeoned in his opener. That's for sure. Goes out, what was it? 5 earned, 8 hits, nothing really all that good. But it's a righty taking on the Angels with no lefties. And time again, I mean, they strike out at the highest clip in baseball against lefties. They strike out at the highest clip in baseball against righties. 93 WRC plus is all you're really getting here in an advantageous baseball stadium for hitting for the Angels. But I don't know if Mason Barnett is one of those guys who is going to go rack up 8 or 9, but he is 5,500 today. And you go to this AAA stuff, it's always so difficult for me to like account for the PCL, the Pacific Coast League. I feel like I've talked about that for years. It used to be a huge edge to betting back in the day, like 2018, 2019. It's since gone away. I think you can basically back pitchers right from the onset, especially going into a San Francisco or Arizona if they're highly touted with good stuff. And books have picked up on that now for years. But back in the day, you used to be able to just jam in some of those spots and find some goodness. 22.8% K rate on the moon in Tahoe is not that bad. Like, it's not that bad, Matt. And even if he gives up a couple of solo shots, if we can avoid the catastrophes that come your way, this is probably the most interest I've had in a pitcher sub 6K in a long time, which is very, very terrifying. He's only showing up in 2% of lineups right now. In the Sims are 1.3%. I've currently got 28% of Mason Barnett to get to Coors Field. How you like it?
I can't say I like it, but I can't say I hate it. So the things to not like about it are he's probably not very good.
Yeah,
we know that. And doesn't mean that he can't have a good game tonight because it's baseball. And oftentimes these not good pitchers have good games in spots like this. So the good thing is, I mean, I can't remember the last time a righty of any level of goodness, for lack of a better term, wasn't highly owned. Finally, the field's backing off when he's really, really cheap. I mean, it makes sense in that regard. This is the best matchup for righties in DFS right now. So I get it. The Angels are also going to get a lot of love. They look like the team that's getting more love than anyone but San Diego. So you get some leverage there too. I'm not rolling with it, but I get the logic for sure.
I I guess you said please and thanks, so I suppose we will do that as well. We were, of course, going to talk FanDuel, my friend, but wanted to kind of run the gamut here on the DraftKings side. There are some other guys that aren't really showing up in the Sims. The other guy named Seymour that's down here for San Francisco, McGreevy for St. Louis. No thank you to either of them. If you made me, you could talk me into a share or two of Michael McGreevy, but he's basically a ground ball enthusiast who's trying to just, he's pitching to contact. It's pretty tough to look at his mix and see swing and miss, even against San Francisco. So for me, probably going to be steering clear of the atmosphere over him and everybody else. It is basically Barnett or pass sub 6,300.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. There isn't anyone else I like that's cheap. So
no.
Yeah, no. Barnett makes the most sense. All these guys.
Turbo starts in 10 minutes. I was just saying Peterson. No, do not play David. I hate David Peterson so much.
Yeah, he's right there with Soriano in top 3 in hard hit rate. So yeah, another interesting one. I don't think there's anything else.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. No, thank you. Anyway, that's all we've got here over on the DraftKings side. Let's jump over to the single lineup simulator, where it's always fun to take a look at FanDuel and see what we've got under the hood here. We've got quite a bit of ownership coming your way towards Chris Sale, but there's one other guy, Jose Soriano, who's pulling quite a bit of ownership. Do not, I repeat, do not roster Ian Seymour over on FanDuel. He cannot get a quality start if he does not start the baseball game. It is very hard to imagine a slate here with Soriano, with Christopher Sanchez, who's my favorite tournament option over on FanDuel, even at 10-2. But Ian Seymour cannot get that bonus. Yeah, he's 7,400, but like you're giving up quite a bit. You have to ask for 8-9 strikeouts right out the gate, which again, he's gone 8 back-to-back. Not saying you can't. I just don't look at previous, what he did last time out data as any kind of an indicator. I just don't want to play 16% of Ian Seymour on FanDuel. Do you have that same feeling as me? And anything stand out to you over there other than Chris Sale might actually be under-owned at 19.5%?
I don't know if I'd go that far just because he's double any other. Well, Seymour is getting 16%. I was going to say double. I'm with you on Seymour. He is really cheap, though. So, it's baked into the price, and there are expensive bats to get to. Seymour is, one of the cheapest pitchers on the slate. So I don't love it, but I get it. For me, Sanchez and Sale are basically the same price, but you get the ownership discount. I'm probably just going to roll with Sanchez here. I get it, giving some projection. Your Sale's going to be projected for more fantasy points always, but there are more question marks surrounding Sale, and it's a much tougher matchup. So give me Sanchez here.
Sanchez, you and I are kind of on the same boat here. We didn't talk about Cam Schlittler. Fastball, primary pitcher, giving up power to righties. There are some righties. I don't know if you've heard of them, George Springer and Vlad Guerrero Jr. They're pretty good overall. I don't think the lefties are anything to frown on either. Dalton Varsho hits a home run every day. Addison Barger was hitting a home run every single day. Just a very difficult spot for a Cam Schlittler here. So as much as I like the fastball that he throws 50+% of the time, can't do it here. Not really finding a lot on the cheap end. It is on a one-pitcher site. Pretty straightforward to me to get up to Sale, to play some Soriano as well on the cheaper end. But the Ian Seymour one does freak me out purely because if 15% of the field is going to play a guy who doesn't get the bump for a quality start and can also get the win taken away from him for random reasons if a scorekeeper is feeling inclined, yeah, that's going to be less fun. I don't really think there's anything else to really note on FanDuel that I don't feel on DK. Christopher Sanchez, our favorite tournament pitcher on both sides. Yeah,
similar feelings just because the pitchers are the same. And the pricing isn't that much different. So I'm with you.
All right, I'm going to click simulate lineups one more time here as we're going over because for whatever reason, it's just being difficult. Could not find Pablo Lopez. Well, that's a bummer. Pablo Lopez is a person, I guess on FanDuel, that might be why. So we will simulate those lineups here now as we go. And you know what? While I'm doing that, while I'm getting everything back at your disposal, I'll bring this up one more time for you. We've got the $1 NFL Core Weekly. It was available yesterday. It's available today as well for the Kansas City Chiefs, Los Angeles Chargers showdown that we've got before us. It's going to be starting up here the stream 45 minutes from now. That is going to be Greg Ehrenberg and I believe Spags as well, which I'm very excited for. I'm sure Puppet Lindquist will make some kind of a hello, how you doing this fine day? I'm sure that'll make me feel really good, really manly today on this Friday. I'm such a bitch sometimes. $1 NFL Core Weekly, friends. Friday slate. Check it all out. 30% off if you guys want to get the monthly right from the get-go. That deal will end on Monday. That is promo code football for that one. So we've got opener, football, and then the big shebanger. Use code BIRD. That is early bird. Get 10% off the entire year. Every single month. Going the rest of the way, friends. That is going to be good times. You're going to want to check it out. You're going to want to take advantage of that deal right now, because once it goes away forever. 10% off. Promo code opener, though. At the very least, go to the video description box below and check that out for $1 today with the Sims. Good times will be had by all. All right. I think I did a pretty good job. I ran that in the background. I feel like Greg Ehrenberg. Look at me. I'm Samantha. Oh, it's great. Let's do this. It's my favorite question to ask as we start talking about stacks, Matt Bellman. One stack to rule them all. One stack to find them. Lord of the Rings style. You shall not pass. But in this case, we want them to pass. We want them to pass go multiple times. Score many runs. Who's your favorite stack on the day?
So easy to say the Padres because they're in cores, and we know
Correct.
how that goes. But I'm not going to say them. I'm going to say the Dodgers, who I love here.
Daddy.
Not even that I think Dean Kramer's some scrub. He's fine. It's more for me, the Dodgers coming off a tough series in Pittsburgh. They finally got going late in that game yesterday. Not quite enough to come back. Really good hitting weather in Baltimore. Bad Baltimore bullpen. And Kramer is fine, but he's not a guy I'm scared of. And they're getting appropriate ownership for the top stack tool. But because of cores, they're under 10% ownership, where if you didn't have the Padres in cores, they would be much, much higher than that. So give me the Dodgers here to rule them all, knowing that the Padres are clearly the easy answer.
Yeah, the Padres are definitely the easy answer. Dodgers are pretty close to the easy answer against Dean Kramer with the number of lefties that they've got at their disposal. Ended up betting the Dodgers right at -140 once we got news that Shohei was going to be starting instead of Glasnow. Glasnow has a major ceiling. But
how'd that line move? Just curious.
It's gone up to like -150, -150.
No, I mean, did the Glasnow to Shohei move the line? Because I wouldn't see why it would.
See, okay, so I thought about this so long for like 10 minutes. It was a very short amount of time that I had to think about this and what was going to happen to the line. So you basically are looking at Glasnow for 6 innings, and you're looking at Shohei for 5. If you put their xFIPs in, if you put in their xWOBAs, which is kind of like 2 major indicators I like to do when I'm simulating out stuff and taking a look at it, there's a lot more that goes into it, but that's the bare bones of it. You're talking about a guy who has like a sub-3 expected ERA in Shohei Ohtani, and it's like right around 3.5 for Glasnow. But that 6th inning is kind of the big deal. And I think that that's the question about how much you value the 6th inning, because they've said Shohei is going to be hard capped at 5 innings. And so you have 3 outs that are just sitting there by the wayside. And it's just a question of what happens in the course of that. What relievers could potentially be in there? I think it's a good thing because you're getting 5 innings of Shohei. And the version we just saw against Cincy is by far. He was hitting 98.5, 99 on the gun pretty easily with the fastball. I think he is just going to be a top 10 pitcher going forward, even in limited innings. Not going to do us a lot of good because it's going to be very easy to project him. But I do think his floor going forward is going to be a lot higher than what Glasnow's is. And so when you talk about range of outcomes, I think both of them could go strike out, 8, 10 dudes even in 5 innings. But I feel like Glasnow is going to get shelled in ballparks.
Yeah.
Good for lefty power, a lot more than Ohtani will with the splitter going forward.
That's my only problem with how you assessed it, is I agree with you, except for the fact that I think on any given start, it's much more likely that Ohtani goes 5 than Glasnow goes 6, even though that might be what's projected, or that's, Glasnow's upside is higher. I think it's more of a lateral move than anything, but I do think Ohtani is just the better.
For what it's worth. Right now. Yeah, for what it's worth. Glasnow was at 17.5 minus, and it was sitting at -120 most of the day. So he was favored to go towards the side of 18. I had him kind of neutral to that for what it's worth. So he was about 50-50 to hit that number. Would have probably entertained a small play on like a no vig or something where there, again, no vig,
Sure.
you're kind of entertaining an under there, but didn't end up pulling the trigger on it. And obviously ends up getting scratched in that spot. I thought his ceiling was enormous there, and he was going to be a big part of our slate. But now that he's gone, I do think the Dodgers are pretty darn appealing, but not really showing up in the Sims. In fact, have you ever remembered a slate where the Sims were this out on the opposing team in Colorado? Because I sure don't. 4% 5-stack exposure. Good Lord Almighty, we are undercutting San Diego in the Sims today.
It's hard to get to them, man. They're really expensive.
Yep.
That's what it comes down to. Like, the top guys are really pricey, and then the guys in the middle they're all pricey. Like, they all got like a 1K price increase. So it's hard to fit them. And there are 22 stacks tonight to choose from. So I get it. I also think that, I mean, and even the top stack tool would agree. Like, they're the best stack, and they're not getting. That's the only reason I'm a little surprised at that is because usually in these spots when there's so much leverage coming in with the top stack, the Sims will just jam them. But here, it's telling me a lot that they're not, to be quite honest.
Guys, you got to hit that like button for us. We got to get those numbers up. Those are rookie numbers. We got to get up over that 100 number for my guy, Matt Bellman, giving you the goods here as we talk through some of our favorite stacks for DraftKings tournaments. We'll, of course, flip it over then, talk a little FanDuel. We'll have some time to build out some lineups here as we approach towards that 7 p.m. Eastern time, 4 p.m. Pacific window. And then we're going to turn it over to Live Before Lock, which, as I said before, I confirmed, that is going to start at 7 p.m. Eastern time. So I'm going to be getting us out of here like 2-3 minutes early. So we got about 12-13 minutes here left of this show. And I'm going to jump off right then so we can turn it over to Spags and Greg Ehrenberg. Looking forward to watching that. I'm sure you all are too. All right. Would rather play 2 or 3 Padres. That's kind of the way that I feel about it. Like Ryan O'Hearn up to the 2-hole today. No Luis or Raz in that lineup. Lots of interesting ways to like formulate your lineups with some like 2 or 3 San Diego fillers, but boy, do I not want to play, 6,200 Fernando Tatis today, a 1,500 Manny Machado. I get Kyle Freeland is Kyle Freeland. He's kind of the one guy for Colorado that I've given actual respect to, like that I have not gone full out 100% exposure against.
Well, he's been their ace for like 10 years now. So yeah, whatever that means. I will say this about the Padres. They're expensive and hard to get to, but man, I have PTSD because earlier in the year, I think they were in this spot and they scored they must have averaged like over 10 runs a game. I remember I had a Cincinnati stack one night against McCullers. They scored like 8 runs in the first. And I was like, man, this is going to be a good night, but it wasn't because the Padres just went absolutely ballistic in this same spot. So I'm not playing them because of that. I have PTSD because of it, though.
Can we talk about one of the more interesting pieces of the Sims? Because one of the things we do is we talk about our favorite teams, but we don't always talk about the 3rd or 4th or 5th or 6th or some things of that nature. I think which
are usually the teams that win the slates.
Yeah. So let's talk about this one. Okay. Pablo Lopez has a 4.5 implied run total going against him, but you could also say this. If I'm going to get 4 or 5 innings of Pablo Lopez, or he's going to be limited, 82 pitches, you probably don't need him to go beyond 90 in any scenario. You don't want him to. Keeping him healthy is the priority as a Twins fan, as a Twins manager, everything else. Get Pablo Lopez out of this season. Let him live his life. 5 innings against the Twins bullpen is ridiculous. Did you watch this White Sox series and how bad our pen is since we traded away Jax and Duran and everybody else with a pulse? We have nothing in the pen.
I hate the guys in the Minnesota pen. They're so bad.
Nothing. They're so bad that Kansas City is 3rd in terms of stack exposure. I think it's probably the sharpest find. I'm considering playing them against my Twins in that one lineup to rule them all, one lineup to find them. I think they're the most interesting of those top stacks. I think Boston against Erod is very valid. I think Philly against Miami and Palazzo, Palazzo. I think that makes a lot of sense too. But like the Kansas City one is wild to me, and nobody is playing it. They are sub 5%. I really like them for large field. I'm going to probably give them a little bit of a boost as we get closer to lock.
Yeah, I get it. I have too much respect for Lopez, and I don't have enough respect for Kansas City to want to get there. Doesn't mean I don't like the shout out. And I get it. Minnesota's bullpen is that bad, but too many other offenses I like more. They will be really low owned, though. Coming off a couple slates where they were chalk. So I always love that. And, certainly they've got bats that I like. Bobby Witt at the top of that list. But they're not a team I'm actively looking to full stack. That said, I'm only playing 6 lineups. So that kind of explains that.
Okay, 6 lineups. Those are hefty lineups, though, and they carry some weight, my friends. So, I'm playing 150. I guarantee you I have less in play. So, it's all relative. It's something that we're paying attention to. Obviously, I do want to care a lot about getting, again, 15,000 in DK cash for this achievements deal. Let me tell you this. I'll find a way to spend 15K in DK cash come Sunday. So I'd be just fine getting some of that fired up from the achievement stuff. That is for sure. What? Who's going to go? De Niro. I have a lot of money on Springer. And then I like his hits, runs, RBIs. Did I get that right, No Bass? I think so. Que lástima. ¿Dónde está la biblioteca?
One question we didn't, or one thing I know you asked me about it and I kind of just poo-pooed it, but is weather in Atlanta concerning at all?
Let me pull it up here. A little bit.
Right?
Oh, great. So Seymour and Sale are getting jammed by the Sims, and we have weather in both. Great.
It doesn't look like bad enough whether I want to not play them, but it looks like it could get to that point. I'm probably just going to let it ride, honestly, because the weather doesn't look bad enough. Certainly a delay could take Sale out, but that's kind of always the case this time of year in Atlanta. So
I got it right. It's fantastic. Bueno. Donata. Want to make money. Springer is the guy. Hits, runs, RBIs. Love that. Yeah. Going up against Schlittler, he's going to get his Schlitt kicked in. Let's talk about some other stacks. St. Louis popping up there. That is a thing that is occurring in our lives as well. Not the biggest fan of it, but I'm kind of letting it rock, letting it roll. Is there any team that's not showing up for you that you feel like you're missing out on? Or if you were making more than 6 lineups that you're like, yes, this is like the team that I'm missing out on some exposure to. I have one.
Yeah, so I think the answer to that question is probably Philly. They're expensive, not in a great park for hitting, but their offense is obviously elite. One of the best 5 offenses in baseball, and they're facing a bad pitcher. So Philly would be the team for me that I'm not getting to, that I could see destroying me. Obviously outside of the Padres, who I'm way under the field on, but excluding them, it's the Padres and Phillies for me are the 2 teams I'm worried about. Certainly only playing 6 lineups. There are a lot of teams I'm not getting to because I'm also not just stacking a different team in each. But those are the 2 main ones for sure.
Gotcha. I feel awful that I'm not stacking up my Twins against Michael Wacha, specifically the righties. I probably should, when it's all said and done here, get to a little bit more of them. Michael Wacha doesn't strike anybody out at this point in time. 17% to lefties, 18.7% to righties. But throughout every year, if you just click through the years, higher expected ISO in 2024 to righties, higher expected ISO to righties in 2023, higher expected ISO in 2022 to righties, everything down the line. And it's kind of culminated in a 198 expected ISO to righties this season. That's fly ball contact. And we've seen some game environments that have gone ballistic for Minnesota recently, and they're the road team in this one. So that's nifty. Wins out ever so slightly. It's getting cooler, but it's kind of getting cooler everywhere across the country. And I don't really see a reason to like say, oh, well, this is not a good enough in game environment. I don't feel any of that here. I feel as though Michael Wacha, specifically with these righties, and then you can throw Larnach and Wallner, and I mean, they're very, very serviceable hitters. My Twins, man, I feel really icky not having Buxton or Keishel or anything in any like large dollar capacity. Plus, you get Clemens at 3,100 at first. Like, he's not going anywhere. This dude has just massive power. Feel ridiculous not having my Twins.
Yeah, I get the Twins, but I'm not excited about them either.
Why would you be?
Yeah, exactly. But I get it. Like, don't get me wrong. Wacha isn't a guy I'm afraid of, but I just think there are better stacks. That's all it is. If I were multi-entering and I was getting some, I'd be totally cool with it, but I'm not, so I'm not.
That's fair. Go Keishel, go Clemens. I'm going to give them a little bit of a boost, find a way to get to Buxton a little bit. Not a lot, baby girl, just a little bit. You can head to the crib in a little bit. I can show you how I live in a little bit. Anyway, and these leans, likes, and locks, daily sharp edges. I appreciate you. Hit that like button. I really appreciate that. That's very, very nice. Let's party, friends. Going to miss Eric's hot weather talk. Oh, you're going to get cold weather talk. And you know what happens in the winter? People fornicate because it's cold. Making babies. All right. Any stacks that you want to discuss that we didn't get to before we jump over to FanDuel?
I mean, there's a lot of good stacks on the slate, so yes, but not one in particular. You know what I mean?
Right. Let me take a look at FanDuel here. We got, 6 minutes left before I do want to jump out at like a minute or two early just to make sure you guys all stick around on this channel. Jump right into NFL Live before lock with Spags, with Greg. You guys need to be checking that out for damn sure. And obviously, I'll talk about the promos that we have going one more time in case you were late to the party, which is, an all right thing to do. You don't want to be early. You don't want to be that loser. So let's create a lineup here, taking a look over at the FanDuel side of things. And a lot of these stacks look very, very similar, but San Diego, holy mother of God. I mean, look at some of this ownership that you're going to be getting on the main boppers. Fernando Tatis is 38.5% owned. Ohtani is 35% owned. Ramon Laureano, 25% owned. Jackson Merrill, 20% owned. I can't tell you enough how much pain I'm going to be in if the Padres go off today. I'll be in so much pain.
Yeah, I mean, same. Typical Coors slate for me. I mean, I'll play Coors sometimes, but it's really tough to get there, and I do think the ownership will certainly be there. Like, especially in smaller field stuff, they'll get jammed. We just saw the Giants get jammed way higher owned than we were projecting, which happens on these slates a lot.
Yeah, and in single entry, man, especially, it's going to get ridiculous. Rhino Hurd,
It is.
Rhino Hurd actually not as popular as I expected him to be. 3,400 left on left. San Diego's just saying, F it. Different team. They're giving Luis Arraez a day off. Let him, kick it.
49. Oh, you're talking about on FanDuel. Sorry.
Part of it, there's a lot of power that you can get off of Kyle Freeland. And Kyle Freeland, have you looked at his splits this year?
Yeah, I mean, he's not good.
It's power to everybody at this point in time. I guess it's not crazy. 154 expected ISO. Do I still have it on 2025? I sure do. Just had to double check the slider. Anyway, my super chat was accidentally missed. No. I just need to find it here. Let me in on DK333. Here you go. Ohtani or Tatis? That is the question for the people. So let's jump on over to DK here for one quick second. I'll give you my favorite FanDuel stack here as well in a second. But looking at Ohtani or Tatis, I mean, Ohtani's pulling the more ownership. I still like Ohtani more in Baltimore. I mean, it's wild to say. I prefer Ohtani if you have the salary. That's not wild to say. It's Ohtani.
Yeah, I mean, I like Ohtani more, but if I were one-offing, I like Ohtani more. But if there were, it's close. It's a lot closer than Tatis, who's phenomenal in his own right versus Ohtani usually is. Like, I couldn't fault anyone for playing Tatis in that spot. It's MLB, so that's a really tough question to answer. If I was doing any semblance of a Dodger stack, certainly Ohtani, vice versa, Tatis and a Padres stack.
Yeah, it's going to be.
I mean, you're talking about like the two probably highest projected hitters on the slate. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, I mean, you're talking about two really good options, but yeah, I'm gonna lean towards Ohtani, leaning ever so slightly.
Yeah, same.
All right, FanDuel people, one stack that I think really stands out there because San Diego even more popular. I really like Philly. You had brought them up earlier. They're falling way through the cracks there. You've got LA, the Dodgers, LA, the Angels, and San Diego that are pulling the most ownership by far, all double digits. Philly's all the way down there. And Palazzo, have you looked at his splits on the year? Good Lord Almighty. He likes to get his face kicked in. 251 expected ISO against lefties, 190 expected ISO against righties. But just going back to the lefty side of thing, Schwarber, Harper, are they any good?
They're decent.
Okay. Just thought I'd ask. I think they're okay.
Yeah, they're pretty decent. Yeah, Philly looks great here. It's tough because they're like as expensive as the Padres and not in as good a spot on paper, but
yeah, not as good of a ballpark either, but
right, certainly. Well, as far as the matchup goes, I'd rather face Belozo than Freeland. So they're in a better spot in that regard, much worse spot in terms of the ballpark. And they're expensive. Plus, you get like the shiny new toy effect with the Padres in cores when they play most of their games in bad ballparks. So people who don't normally get to play them want to play them. I do like the Phillies a lot, though. Like, I'm not getting to them because they're so expensive. But if I could choose one team to play the Padres or the Phillies, I think you can make a real strong case for the Phillies in tournaments tonight, given the much lower ownership.
Favorite pitching combination on tonight's slate?
Probably Sanchez Sale, even though I don't like love Sale because of his ownership and price. It's easy enough to fit, and he's Chris Sale, so totally cool with it.
Favorite stack for large field tournaments?
Dodgers.
We're going to go Dodgers here quick. Let's put this stack together for the people as we finish out. Hit that like button for us. Would really appreciate it. Dalton Rushing, Freeman. Let's get a little Ohtani in our lives. We got to go cheap probably. Pages and Conforto. Maybe eating up too much outfield, but I do want to complete one lineup to take a look at what we got. Oh, can't do it with the salary. Can't do it with the salary. Is that what it's saying? 29 saying that I can't complete it still. Oh, no, because I'm just clicked on the one game. I do that every freaking time, Matt Bellman. No matter what I do, no matter how I be, I am an idiot. That's really what this comes down to. But as I let this run, great lineup, by the way. Dog of the day, friends. Matt, who's going yard for us tonight to round out our show?
Talked about how much I like the Dodgers. It would be easy to go with any of the top guys, but I'm going to go with a guy who he's won many slates in his past. Teoscar Hernandez going yard.
Ooh, Teoscar Hernandez. That's a very fascinating one for sure. I'm going to go Lowell's Newtball, somebody to mix into stacks there. We don't have the time to be able to read off everybody else's here today, as you might have been able to tell. But yeah, built out a single entry lineup for you here very, very quickly that was. And we're going to turn it over right now to NFL Live Before Lock. On the way out, hit that like button, but $1 NFL Core Weekly, that's in the video description box below. You can sign up for that. Get access to it here as you lead into that show with Spags, with Greg Ehrenberg coming up now. But Matt, any final words for the people as we head to the weekend?
No, that's all I got. It was a great last couple of days of doing shows, and I'll see you back again here on Monday.
I have no other words. He's Matt. Go follow him at Fantasy Tips Matt. I'm Eric. You can follow me at Eric Lindquist. See you back here on Sunday for NFL Live Before Lock, where I'll be here. But don't go anywhere. NFL Live Before Lock starting right now on this channel. See ya. Best of luck tonight.